New Year's Eve turned into a terrible tragedy for a 13-year-old girl, which changed her life forever. She fell into the hands of a maniac who tortured her for days on end, recording terrible perversions on camera. This is a story about how a harmless dialogue on the internet can lead to irreversible consequences that shocked the whole world. A mysterious murder. Real stories on our channel Criminalist's Diary. Alicia Kazakevich was born on March 23, 1988 in the American city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In her life there was everything one could dream of: loving parents, a caring older brother, and a future full of hope. In the 2001 year, when the girl was 13, her brother introduced her to the world of the internet. Soon Alicia became interested in chat rooms that allowed people from all over the world to communicate freely. Chatty Yahoo, she met a peer, to whom she quickly took a liking. They constantly talked, did homework together, and told each other about their lives. Alicia consulted with a new friend, shared her experiences, and sometimes complained about her parents. The guy amused her in every possible way, constantly supported and shared all her interests. The computer through which the girl accessed the internet was located in the living room, so the older family members could always see what Alicia was doing. To avoid constant monitoring, she began to enter the chat at night, when all the relatives were already asleep. This went on for almost a year. Alicia was over the moon with happiness. It seemed to her that she had found a kindred spirit. The topic of their conversation increasingly became a personal meeting. Communication on the internet was no longer enough for them. This is where the main problem arose. Alicia, at the age of 13, could not tell her parents that she wanted to see a friend from the internet. It would be almost impossible to go to meet him without their knowledge. Then a friend suggested the perfect solution. He will drive up to her house on New Year's Eve, she will slip out of the house unnoticed, and the couple will finally see each other live. For Alicia, this plan was simply perfect. What could be better than a romantic meeting on New Year's Eve? On the 31st of December, 2001, a festive dinner began, at which the whole family gathered: parents, grandmother, brother, and his girlfriend, friends. Before dessert, Alicia told her mom she wasn't feeling well and left the table. The parents thought that their daughter would go up to her room for a while and come back. But Alicia had other plans. The girl quietly left the house and ran down the street to meet her prince. At that moment, she was wondering why he wanted to meet on New Year's Eve. Probably to make a nice gift, Alicia thought. She ran and imagined how their first date would go. Very soon the romantic mood was replaced by a slight anxiety. The girl was standing in the middle of a dark street, there was not a soul around. At that moment, she realized how dangerous and reckless it was to leave her home. Alicia decided to go back, turned around, but suddenly she heard her name. Then the girl decided that it would be stupid to run away now, and went to meet her fate. Then everything happened in a blur. The girl was in the car. A man was driving her in an unknown direction. Fear filled my mind. A terrible, killing, eating fear from the inside. It seemed to Alicia that everything that was happening was just a movie, but definitely not her life. After 5 hours of driving, she saw his face. It was an adult man, according to the description, not at all like the guy she was chatting with. What was happening did not fit into my head. It seemed like it wouldn't get any worse. Suddenly he grabbed her by the arms, pulled her out of the car, threw her into the basement and chained her. He looked into her eyes, smiled maliciously and said, "Now you're going to feel very bad, so you can cry." The next 4 days turned into a real hell for the girl. The kidnapper abused her, tortured her, and recorded it all on camera. He immediately shared the videos on sadistic forums, and sometimes brought his friends to the house and let them visit Alice. All this time she dreamed of only one thing: to survive. One day the sadist told her that he would leave the house and come back in the evening. He added that he was beginning to fall in love with the girl, and Alicia realized that he was going to kill her that evening. Meanwhile, the FBI was putting a huge effort into finding Alicia. At some point, they were approached by an anonymous man from Florida who watched a video with bullying of a girl on the internet. He was afraid that he might be imprisoned as an accomplice, so he decided to help law enforcement agencies calculate the location of the victim. To do this, he gave them the login under which the rapist published videos. The FBI quickly established the IP address, followed by the location of the house in the town of Herndon, Virginia. A special forces detachment immediately went to the place. Hearing the noise and screams, Alicia was horrified. She thought that the kidnapper had instructed someone to kill her. But after a few seconds, the door swung open, and the girls saw the FBI's saving inscription on their clothes. For the next few days, the poor girl was in shock and could hardly speak. First she was taken to the hospital, later to the police station. In the ward where she was placed for examination, Alicia noticed a dollhouse. Suddenly she realized that children much younger than her were also victims of violence. Before meeting with her parents, Alicia was in turmoil. The girl thought she had done something bad, and the family no longer loves her. Of course, she was wrong. Reuniting with mom and dad was one of the happiest events in her life. The kidnapper was arrested half an hour after rescuing the girl at his workplace. It turned out to be 38-year-old Scott William Tyree. He was born in 1963, received a school education and lived quite an ordinary life. Tyree was married twice, both times ended in divorce. His first wife described him as a classic programmer who was fond of science fiction and games. Before his arrest, he had never had any problems with the law. But there is one detail in his biography that is really shocking. Tari had a daughter from her second marriage, just a year younger than Alice. She lived with him during the winter holidays and went home on the very day when the father went to get his victim. After the rescue, Alice faced another serious test, the trial. Despite the fact that the investigator had all the necessary evidence in his hands, the girl was forced to relive all that horror. She had to watch videos in which she was being bullied and confirm that it was really her. It was an extremely reckless demand on the part of the court to subject the girl's psyche to such a test, but she agreed. In September 2003, the court issued a verdict. Tyree was sentenced to 19 years and 7 months in prison. In February 2019, he was released early, but he was placed in a house under constant supervision. This caused a wave of outrage across America. The correctional system chose a house for him in Pittsburgh, where Alicia lived. Ordinary people and even members of Congress demanded that the sadist be placed away from the victim. The situation resolved itself, albeit temporarily. In October 2019, Tyree violated the conditions of early release, for which he went to prison for another 2 years. If his sentence is not commuted again, he will be released in 2021. As for Alicia, that dollhouse from the hospital room did not give her peace of mind. She understood the danger the internet posed to children, and at the age of 14 she decided to devote her life to protecting them. To some extent, this saved her, too, because the struggle for a good cause and a goal allowed her to distract from the tragedy that could break even the most persistent. Now Alicia is 32 years old. She works as a lawyer and protects people who have suffered at the hands of rapists and kidnappers. The girl also founded her own project to help teenagers realize the dangers of social networks. Throughout the journey, the girl experienced trust issues. Childhood trauma has almost killed faith in people, care and sincerity. But Alicia was once again able to overcome such a difficult barrier, and now she is happily married. Despite the happy ending, this story evokes mixed feelings. 2 decades have passed since the tragedy of Alicia Kazakevich, but the problem of children's vulnerability on the internet has not gone away. On the contrary, with the development of technology, it is more relevant than ever. The internet gives people freedom, who manage everything differently. The governments of various countries adopt laws and impose restrictions that do not change the situation at all. The story of the little girl of Spitsberg is a bitter but necessary lesson for everyone, regardless of age. Perhaps she will help the children and their parents to avoid a tragedy in the same way that Alicia herself is helping now.